Hey folks, Dr. Joe here. I'm glad you could spend a little time with me. What we're going to talk about today, little different than what I usually talk about. Normally I'm talking about nutrition and biochemistry and chiropractic and all those fun things that are necessary for you to get well and stay well. But there's something out there that right now you're exposing yourself to, and it could be causing a lot of your healthcare problems. And you're thinking to yourself, I'm not exposing myself to anything right now. I'm in my car. I'm at home. Wherever you are, how could I be exposed to something that's adversely affecting my health? And you're probably being exposed to it all day, every day. And now you're thinking, what could this be, Dr. Joe? Is it the air pollution? Is it water? Is it the clothes I'm wearing? Nope. It's something you can't even see. It's called electromagnetic frequencies. Now, EMFs, or electromagnetic frequencies, are given off by things like Wi-Fi, by things like your cell phone. And so all day, every day, you're being exposed to these things. And the research now is showing that it's an important component to getting your healthcare working properly if you want to optimize something called mitochondrial health. Now, what the heck is mitochondrial health? Mitochondria are part of your cells, and they produce energy in your cells. I remember being in high school and college learning about mitochondria. It was called the powerhouse of the cell. It generated electricity. And so in order to get the electricity working properly, the mitochondria have to be working properly. And the EMFs are actually affecting the mitochondria, and they're affecting your DNA. Now, the DNA are part of your cells that make your cell your cell. Everybody's DNA is a little different. You ever watch these crime shows? We could do a DNA sample. And if it comes up that they could test my DNA versus the crime scene DNA, and it's a match, I'm guilty. Because everybody has a slightly different DNA. And so if it's affecting the DNA that makes you you, that's not a good thing. The key, and this is the tricky part I'm going to have today, the key is I'm trying to translate the science into a clear and understandable language. And I want to offer you some practical recommendations on what to do to remediate this problem, what to do to fix it. Because you're not going to give up your cell phone. I know that. I am in a studio right now, and there's Wi-Fi on right now. Because I know that because my cell phone is hooked up to the Wi-Fi. So how do I avoid the Wi-Fi? Well, I can't. It's all over me. I could walk through the whole studio. It's a big studio. I'm going to have Wi-Fi connection everywhere I go. A lot of you have Wi-Fi in your house. So there's going to be some practical tips I'm going to give you as to how to reduce your exposure, pardon me about that, about getting these EMFs out of your life, but I'm also going to give you things that you need to do to keep yourself healthy so that when you are exposed to these electromagnetic frequencies, you can do something about it. You can fight it because you're going to get exposed to it. It is what it is, and we got to do something about that to keep you healthy. So we're all swimming in it. It's like an invisible ocean that we're all in. And it's impossible to avoid it. Now, maybe if you're up in the mountains somewhere and you're not getting cell phone reception, that might be one place that might work. Maybe you're out at sea somewhere and you're not getting these. But these microwave is one type of radiation. Electromagnetic frequencies is another. You're going to get them pretty much everywhere. So one thing you can do, you can shut off your Wi-Fi when you're not using it. And certainly at night when you're sleeping. My house, I have a little remote. My IT guy hooked it up for me. And it's a little remote control. And I can push it and it turns my Wi-Fi on and off. So all I have to do is push the button, go to bed. Because you're not going to use your Wi-Fi while you're sleeping. Let's get real. So why expose yourself to all that electromagnetic frequency if you don't have to? And the kicker is this, that many times this electromagnetic frequency affects your sleep. I was a guest on a show, Eric von Hessler, a couple of days ago, actually. And he was talking about how he just doesn't sleep. And I do guest spots on this show. And he says, Dr. Joe, what do I do? And so we talked about sleep and how you got to get into that deep REM, that rapid eye movement sleep. And so many of us don't get there. Some of you drink coffee. And I've known many people over the years, and they'll say, you know what? I can drink this coffee and I go right to sleep. It doesn't affect me at all. So that's interesting. But what happens is it is affecting you. Studies have shown that if you drink coffee, even if you can fall asleep and stay asleep, you may not be getting into that deep, rapid eye movement sleep like you're supposed to. And that can affect brain function and affect your health, of course. So shutting down your Wi-Fi is a good idea. Your cell phone. I want you to take your cell phone and get yourself a wired headset. Almost every cell phone I've ever seen, everyone I've ever seen, comes with one. And if you want to get crazy, you can buy another one because the other one might have broken or worn out, and they cost a lot of money. They're about $5. If you want to get a really fancy one, you might go $10. Get a headset. Make sure it has a speaker in the wire. And then take your phone and put it as far away as you can from your body, the length of the speaker wire at least. So if I'm in my car, I'll take my cell phone and put it on the passenger seat or on the floor behind me and make it as far away as I can. Because your phone is constantly sending and receiving messages, so you're being exposed to these electromagnetic frequencies. So you could also put it on speakerphone. And this is a kicker about cell phones. If you've ever read the pamphlet that comes in your cell phone, it clearly says, do not put this next to your ear. Most of them I've seen say it anyway. Don't put it next to your ear. What the heck? How am I going to talk on a phone? Put it away from your ear. Put it about 1 inch away from your ear or 2 inches away from your ear. And that's what I do. If I don't have my headset, or if I'm driving, I can't get the headset on quick enough, or I will take the phone and just hold it away from my ear. The closer it is to your ear, the more damage it's going to cause. The wired speaker is going to be your best bet, though, your wired headset. If you hold the phone 3 feet away from you, that's going to be the best thing to do. So that's why I said get the cord and put it as far away as you can as possible. If you're 3 feet away from your phone and use it, you're reducing about 90% of the electromagnetic frequencies. So what does this all mean? Why am I talking about this so much? As a chiropractor, my team of doctors and I want to work with you to get well and stay well. That's our job with all our patients. And we've seen this happen on numerous occasions. Patients come in, we start giving them treatment, and they should be at a certain point, and they say, well, doc, I'm still tired a lot. Or, doc, I'm just not holding my adjustment. My neck still hurts a little bit. I have headaches. What side are your headaches on? Well, on the right side. What side do you talk on your cell phone? The right side. And we can do a muscle test, it's called. And it's really a cool test. I can have you, I can push against any muscle in your body, and you'll be strong. I'll then have you take your cell phone and hold it against your body, like against your chest with the other hand that I'm not pushing on. Push on your hands. 100% of the time, the muscles go weak. It essentially short circuits your electrical system. Now, we've had people already that said, I started working out, and I've got this bracelet, this my workout bracelet, and since I've been working out, I've just been so tired and my muscles ache, and gosh, it must be the working out. Of course, that's the one thing you did differently. You started working out, but you also started wearing one of these electronic health monitors. And I've done this countless times. We take the person off the electronic health monitor, push on their muscles, they're strong. Have them put the wristband on, boom, every muscle in their body blows out. So you may be having a reaction to the electromagnetic field from your watch, from your band, I don't want to say brand names here, your cell phone. And I'm going to talk about it as we go on today, and in my next segment as well, that it can affect your sperm count, it can affect your ovaries, it can weaken your bone mass. There are some studies out there now that are looking like if you carry your cell phone in your right hip pocket, let's say, the right hip can lose its bone mass. It becomes less dense than the left hip. So it really is a big issue, and everybody's doing it. Breast cancer. Women put their cell phone in their bra, and we're finding an increased risk of breast cancer. And most breast cancers are on the upper outer lobe. We're seeing it now in the upper inner lobe of the breast, and that's where the cell phone is. So we're seeing a lot of problems. Now, some of the studies are very, very solid on this. Some of the studies are anecdotal evidence. Like I say to you guys all the time, if you're a regular listener, let's assume I'm wrong. So what? I'm wrong. But if I'm right, which I am, you can be very happy with some of the advice I'm going to give you as to where to carry your cell phone. I just told you how to talk on the phone. Don't ever put it against your ear. And there are MRI studies where we can take a picture of the skull and measure the heat in the body or the function of the brain, put the cell phone next to the body, and even in a few minutes, take another picture again, and that whole side of the brain heats up. And that heat can actually cause damage to the brain. So there's heating damage, but there's also something called non-thermal damage. We'll talk about that in a second. So just about everybody listening, the majority of the radiation you're exposed to is not from outside your house. It's inside your house. It's inside your offices. And that's where we really have to start looking at it. So as chiropractors, we want to get your nervous system working at 100%. And we look for pinched nerves if you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, headaches. That's what people classically think of going to the chiropractor for, putting the bones back in place. But we also have concerns about it damaging, things you're doing to damage the nervous system, which really isn't a chiropractic thing. It's more of me wanting to be your doctor and getting you well. Because if the nervous system is healthy and not pinched, it's going to work a lot better than if it's not pinched and unhealthy. So most of the radiation you're exposed to today, there's different types. One is microwave radiation, and that does include radiation from your microwave oven. Now, if you still have one, which I don't, you might want to consider getting rid of it. Now, that's a bold statement, isn't it? Dr. Joe, I will take Dr. Joe's Super Greens. I will take Dr. Joe's Essential Source. I will eat right. I will get my fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. I'll avoid the 7 deadly sins of nutrition. I'll get chiropractic care, but I am not giving up my microwave oven. How many of you said that? I know you did. If you have one, it is leaking radiation. It has to. It always does. You know the history of microwave ovens? They came out of Russia. Russia was going to use it as a military weapon. And then somebody realized, well, we can make a smaller version of it, and you can heat your potatoes with it. But it was banned for many, many years in Russia because the Russian scientists realized how dangerous this stuff was. And then eventually perestroika and blah, 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 we finally got microwave ovens in. So that's an issue. And if Russia, the people who invented it, didn't want their people using it, why would you want to use it? But I know you're thinking, I have to heat things up. You can get things like a convection oven, a steam convection oven, and it works almost as fast as the microwave. And it's a whole lot safer. Now, when you turn the microwave on, it's going to expose you to this radiation that are far in excess of your cell phone. So if you're worried about your cell phone, you should be worried about your microwave even more. Studies have shown that when you're exposed to electromagnetic frequency, this is going to be the tricky part for me. I'm going to try to explain it to you in pieces. So if I lose you, I'm going to try to come around again. What happens is electromagnetic frequencies increase the intracellular calcium levels. Dr. Martin Pall, P-A-L-L, Ph.D., has finally come up with the research that he believes now, is why electromagnetic frequencies are bad. We knew they were bad. We never quite understood the mechanism. So what it does, it turns out to be a critical point because excess calcium in the cells increases what's called calcium signaling, and that's responsible for a vast majority of biological effects of the electromagnetic frequencies. So what happens is, I'll try to keep it simple for you. Electromagnetic frequencies work by activating something called voltage-gated calcium channels. What that is your cell has these gates, if you will, or doorways around the cell. And it's voltage regulated. So when electricity goes in, it'll open up and allow calcium from the outside of the cell to go inside of the cell. It opens the door and lets calcium in. And now they're located in the outer membranes of the cells, and once they're activated, they allow a tremendous influx of calcium into the cell. About 1 million calcium ions per second per gate. Now that's too much calcium for the cell to handle. The cellular membrane is 7 million times more sensitive to electromagnetic frequencies than it would be without the electromagnetic frequency, which is what the safety standards are based on. So how much calcium is based on, if it's not, doesn't have EMF there. When EMF, electromagnetic frequencies, come in, it opens up the cells and causes damage by a factor of about 7 million. That's some pretty big stuff right there. Now, your body has ways to deal with that. It can pump calcium out of the cells, which is good. But one of the things we find is that a lot of people are magnesium deficient. And magnesium will help balance out this excess calcium. So here we are exposing ourselves to electromagnetic frequencies. Microwave ovens is one thing. Again, that's not EMFs. But EMFs come from Wi-Fi, come from your cell phone. And you're dumping all this calcium into the cells. And you don't have the proper nutrition to deal with this onslaught. And that's when your body starts to get sick. And it can lead to a lot of different things. Heart arrhythmias, which is the heart beating irregularly. It can cause brain malfunctions, brain fog, fatigue, anxiety. So some of the mental issues that you may be experiencing could be due to this calcium influx into the cells because it opens up the gates. So I'm going to try to cover that again in a different verbiage because it might have been a little confusing. And I hope it's not. I ran this by one of my producers, and he said, no, I get it. He says, you were very clear on that. I said, okay, because it's just a little complicated. Anyway, the door's open. Too much calcium gets in because this electromagnetic frequency is opening the door in your cell, dumping in the calcium. And that affects now the nervous system, has a bunch of these doorways or gates, and the heart has a bunch of these doorways and gates. So my concern is I want to get your nervous system working properly, and if you're messing it up with electromagnetic frequencies, you may not be getting all the results that you want. Now, folks, if you want to make an appointment to come see us, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge, and my team of doctors, we will try to meet with you, but my doctors are all there for you aside from me. All my doctors are, I mean this, are as good or better than I am. They're trained by me. They're handpicked by me. And so when you come in our offices, no matter which office you go to, if I'm not there, all my other doctors can take care of you. If you want to make an appointment, go to my website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe, #1 Dr. Joe in the world, and we will set you up a time to come see us. We accept all insurance, people with insurance, without insurance, car accidents. We don't discriminate. Some offices only take, car accident cases. Some people only take whatever, Medicare patients. I don't know. We take all patients, and we work with you. We want to make sure you're happy. So if you have goals or requests, make sure you tell us because we can't read your mind. But we would love the opportunity to take care of you and your children. Children have spines too, and if the spines are not straight, they're going to grow crooked, and that's going to cause problems as adults. So we take care of a lot of children. So if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, if you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, muscle weakness, you ever been in a car accident, ever, if the car was damaged, you were damaged. I promise you that. Even if there's not pain yet, you're going to have problems. Don't delay anymore. The biggest complaint I get is, why didn't I do this sooner? Go to my website, book the appointment right now, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe. And if you have questions, you can always call us. We want to get you well and keep you well. So we're going to try to explain a little bit further about how these EMFs work. Now, the EMFs are not cooking your cells. This is not a thermal effect. It's not heating up the cells. So there are weak EMFs, which the industry claims can't possibly cause any harm, but they're actually adversely affecting your body. Turns out to be absolutely critical because when there's excess calcium in the cells, and again, some of the argument is that, well, it's just a weak electromagnetic frequency, it's no big deal. Number of things happen. Now, here it's going to get a little complicated. Not only do you get excess calcium signaling, this calcium going in there, but it increases something called nitric oxide. Now, nitric oxide has many health benefits, but massively excessive nitric oxide reacts with something called superoxide. So nitric oxide, if you've heard my shows before, opens up your blood vessels, increases circulation to your brain, your reproductive organs, your arms, your legs. Very, very good. It's great at lowering blood pressure because many times people have tight blood vessels because they don't have enough nitric oxide. The blood vessels get tight, pressure goes up. Nitric oxide relaxes the blood vessels, drops the blood pressure. Very important. Too much nitric oxide reacts with something called superoxide. Got it? Nitric oxide, superoxide. Superoxide levels rise when there's increased intracellular calcium. Too much calcium in the cells, superoxide goes up. And they form something called peroxynitrite. Again, don't worry about the chemistry. And that causes free radicals. Now, what free radicals are they like Pac-Man. They eat through things. And that when you have too many of this damage, it causes oxidative stress. That's another big word. Oxidation is kind of like rust. You have a piece of metal and it rusts and eventually breaks down into nothing. That's what oxidation happens. So you have superoxide and too much nitric oxide getting into the cell, creating peroxynitrites, which then creates the oxidative reaction, which breaks down the cells. And it damages the DNA, and it damages the mitochondria. Follow all that? Now, if you didn't follow it, I'm going to archive this show and hundreds of hours of other shows on my website, which is drjoeesposito.com. And you could listen to it again and again, because I know when I studied chemistry and neurophysiology, and at first time you hear it, you're like, what? But then what I would do, this is a little trick if you're a student, this worked really well for me. I graduated chiropractic college, now it's university, at 23 years old. So I was a little whiz kid. And the reason I did it was I would take my notes and I'd read my notes into a recorder. Back then it was a cassette recorder. And I would walk And as I'm walking, I'd listen to my readings over and over and over again. I read it, I spoke it, I heard it. I had all these different neurological inputs into my brain, and it stuck a lot better. So if you want to memorize something, record your own voice. Now you could use your cell phone, of course. And you can listen to it over and over and over again. After you hear something 11 times, by the way, you'll have it memorized. That's how the brain works. You hear a song 11 times, it's memorized. If you hear something 11 times, you'll have it memorized. So if I lost you on this show, go to my website, download the show, and listen to it over and over again. So there's Dr. Paul, P-A-L-L. He says most of the damage is likely done by excessive free radicals, but created by this whole process, but the damage can also be caused by peroxynitrites. So you're causing the calcium into the cells and the nitric oxide getting in there, and it's causing the damage to the DNA, which if it mutates, can cause problems because each cell is designed to live and then die. And when it dies, it goes through a state of what we call apoptosis. Apoptosis is the cell committing suicide, essentially. I've done my job. I can't survive any longer. I'm no longer effective as a cell. I'm going to commit suicide. And you go through apoptosis. When you damage the DNA, the cell may not go through apoptosis. It may not kill itself. And so then it just keeps multiplying and new cells keep growing and growing. We call that cancer. And it's interesting because the cancer research up till just recently was done on how do we kill the cancer cells. They're not killing themselves. We have to kill them chemically with chemicals, chemotherapy. Or we can radiate the cells and kill the cancer cells because they're not killing themselves. The new research in cancer, it's not too new, is going toward immunotherapy. How do we get your immune system healthy enough to cause these cells to go into apoptosis or kill themselves? So we're trying to get the body healthy, and I like this approach because it's treating the cause of why your body's malfunctioning and not just treating the symptoms. I've based my entire career on treating the cause of people's healthcare problems and not just trying to cover it up. Now, sometimes you have to cover it up. Sometimes you have pain. That's debilitating. When pain is debilitating, take some medication. I'm okay with that. But always have the goal in mind, how do I get to the cause of this problem? Does that make sense? So that's what we do at our offices. We treat the nervous system as chiropractors. If the digestive system isn't working, you have acid reflux, heartburn, burping, gas, bloating, we may have to physically massage or adjust the stomach. Your stomach may be pushed up against the diaphragm. We pull it back down, and then we do a nutritional workup on our patients. And this is going to be the key here on things that you can start doing to get well. If you have a lot of free radicals, these Pac-Man attacking your cells, you need something called antioxidants, which counteract the free radicals. And where do we get antioxidants from? Things like fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. I take every single day, I have it sitting here in the studio with me, something called Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. They're two powders. I mix them with like coconut milk. I mixed it with water one day. I didn't have any milk, almond milk. I don't do animal products. That's why I say that. I shake it up, put a jar, shake it up, and drink it. And it's going to give you the minimum amount of nutrients your body needs to function at its highest level, its capabilities. And it's great. It's about 10 servings of raw fruits and vegetables in the essential source. It's antioxidants. It alkalizes the system. It gives you iodine to help your thyroid work. Every cell in the body needs iodine. So it really is what I would consider the best starting supplement that anyone could ever take. And they're on my website, drjoeesposito.com, if you want information about them. Also available on Amazon. If you have an Amazon account, you can order there too. But at least, if you do nothing else, give your body the antioxidants it needs. And you can start with Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Sauce. You might need more than that, but that's the minimum. Relatively inexpensive, tastes great. Once you start taking it, I'm telling you, you're going to have a real tough time stop taking it because you're going to feel, hopefully, so good. If you want to make an appointment to come see us, folks, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. We would love the opportunity to be your doctors. Now, my doctors will work with you to help you get well and stay well by working on pinched nerves, neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, checking your digestive system, and then also we put together a nutrition protocol for you as well, if you want us to. Some people don't, which is they just want chiropractic care, I'm fine. But we accept people with all insurances, no insurance, car accidents, sports injuries. If you've ever been in a car accident, you were damaged. It's just that simple. I don't care what the insurance company tells you. If you're in a car accident, the spine was hurt. So to make an appointment, go to my website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe, #1 Dr. Joe in the world, and we'll set you up a time. You can do it online. If you have questions, you can call us, drjoeesposito.com. Hey, don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. Hey, folks, thanks for spending a little time with me. I am Dr. Joe Esposito. We're talking today about something that's really neat, and I want you to grasp this because it might be a little technical for you. Most people get it, though, so if you're getting it, you just consider yourself really smart then. We're talking about electromagnetic frequencies. These are things that are produced by cell phones, produced by Wi-Fi, and when they get into the body, they can cause the cells in the body to open up and allow too much calcium to get into the cell. And when too much calcium gets into the cell, it can cause damage. And so we're not going to avoid electromagnetic frequencies. They're everywhere. But what we can do is we can keep our body healthy enough that we can fight off the damage. And there are certain things you can do. I say this often, don't carry your cell phone next to your body. If you have your cell phone, put it in your hand, put it in a purse. If I have to carry it, it's always in my hand. If for some reason my hands are full, I'll put it in my pocket. Soon as I get to where I'm going, to my car, to my house, my office, I'll take it out and put it far away from me, 3 feet away at least, so that those electromagnetic frequencies are not bombarding my body constantly. Never, ever put it in places like near your heart. Put it in your shirt pocket. Not a good idea. Those electromagnetic frequencies can affect the heart muscle, and the heart muscle and the nervous system have the most of these gates, if you will, or doorways that allow calcium in. So they can cause more damage. And if you do talk on your phone, which most of us do, I think, that's why you have your phone, do not put it directly next to your ear. Keep it at least a few inches away from your ear. Use a speaker. But the best thing you can do is get a wired headset and then put the phone not on your lap, not in your pocket, put it far away. Arm's length away at least. The length of the cord is at the most you can do. But if I'm in my car, I'll put it on the seat next to me. I'll put it on the floor behind me. Get the cell phones away from your body. Now, years ago, I was talking about how hydrogenated oils are so dangerous and how they can cause heart disease. And a couple of months after I talked about this on one of my lectures, at the time I was on a lecture circuit. I'm still on a lecture circuit. I still do lectures a lot. There was an announcement on CNN. It said the #1 cause of heart disease in the country is margarine. And margarine is a hydrogenated oil. And I remember my mother called me and she said, I'm not sure if you're a nut or a prophet. I haven't quite figured it out yet. And I said, probably a little bit of both, Mom. But what we talk about, the reason I tell that story, what we talk about will become mainstream media. I promise you. Electromagnetic frequencies are everywhere, so nobody really wants to talk about it. It's the elephant in the room type thing. The gorilla in the room? What's the analogy there? The euphemism. I'm not sure what that is. So anyway, nobody wants to talk about it. But it's there because we all have cell phones, and nobody wants to say cell phones are bad. Well, if they're handled right, like a gun or like a car, if they're handled right, it can cause a lot less damage. So keep the phones away from your body if you can. At night, shut off your Wi-Fi. I do. You can do it. It's not that big a deal. I have a remote control switch on mine. I had my IT guy hook up a remote control switch. So when I go to bed, it's right on my kitchen counter. I hit the button, go to sleep. When I wake up, if I have to use my Wi-Fi, I turn it back on. If I don't even bother with it. So we have to get the body healthy in order to deal with this onslaught of what's called free radicals, of molecules attacking the body. And we do that by taking something called antioxidants. And antioxidants come from things like fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. So eating a good plant-based diet is going to give you a lot more antioxidants, which is then going to help your free radicals. So like I said, the EMFs are not cooking the cells. What they're doing is they're causing the cells to open up and to trigger this chain reaction that really is devastating. And it damages your mitochondria, which produce energy, and that causes severe cellular damage, and then the DNA in your cells start to break up. When the cells break up, they're no longer healthy cells, they are mutant cells. And mutated cells that grow out of control because they're not dying when they're supposed to can lead to things like cancer. So it really is a big issue that you want to address. The tissues with the highest level of these gates that open up and allow calcium in, your brain, the pacemaker in your heart, your nervous system, your retina, and gentlemen, your testicles. Studies dating back as far as the 50s and 60s showed the nervous system is the organ that's most sensitive to electromagnetic frequencies. And some of the studies show massive changes in the structure of what's called neurons and they include cell death and synaptic dysfunction. The synapses, the way a cell works is the nerves travel along a nerve cell, and it comes to the end, and then there's a gap where the nerve impulses jump the gap, and it speeds up the ability for the nerve to travel faster, and it's called the synapse. And the synapses can be destroyed. You're not carrying neurological messages. Now, as a chiropractor, I want to make sure the messages are getting from your brain, down your spine, out to your body, and back up again. So we look for pinched nerves. If you have neck pain, back pain, we check the spine. Any joint in the body can come out of place. 206 bones in the body, any one of them can come out of place. We put the bones back in place to physically unpinch the nerves. But if you're damaging the synapse, the actual nerve itself, now you're counterproductive to what we're trying to do. We unpinch the nerves and you keep damaging the nerve itself. Not a good idea. So when these calcium receptor sites are activated in the brain, they release neurotransmitters and neuroendocrine hormones. A lot of big words again there. And elevate the calcium receptor sites activity in certain parts of the brain, and that's been shown to produce a variety of, ready, neuropsychiatric effects. That means it affects how your brain works. Some of the most common consequences of chronic electromagnetic frequency exposure are anxiety, depression. They're finding a link with it to autism, Alzheimer's. So you're affecting the function of the brain. I always talk about I want to fix the chemical and the physical problems. Now we have an electrical problem. Heart problems, because the heart has a lot of these gates, these calcium gates that open up and allow calcium in if they're exposed to electromagnetic frequencies. And too much calcium in the cell can cause things like cardiac arrhythmias. And that can lead to sudden cardiac arrest or death. Atrial fibrillation, atrial flutter. That's when the heart's just beating, fluttering. Premature atrial contractions, premature ventricle contractions, tachycardia, which is fast heartbeat, and bradycardia, which is slow heartbeat. So now you're affecting the heart function. And now a lot of you have something called acid reflux or heartburn or burping or gas, hiatal hernia. That, the stomach and the digestive system, its main nerve supply is called the vagus nerve, V-A-G-U-S. If you're having digestive problems, it can irritate, I'm trying to keep this simple, the vagus nerve, which can send impulses along the vagus nerve over to the heart, because the vagus nerve also helps control your heart and can cause things like rapid heart rate. And I know this because I suffered for years with it. When I had acid reflux and heartburn, my stomach was pushing up into the diaphragm, and not only was having acid reflux and burping a lot, I wasn't digesting my food properly, which can cause things like gas, bloating, diarrhea, constipation. But I also noticed my heart would beat crazy fast and then stop. I remember being a little kid. I was probably lower, 8, 9 years old. And I remember laying in bed, and my heart would go, bop, 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 and then it would stop. And I remember thinking, did my heart just stop? And then it would kick in again. And I said, that's really weird. But as a child, you just assume everybody's heart does that. You move on with your life. Once I realized that my acid reflux and my heartburn and my burping, my digestive problems was directly related to the vagus nerve, I got my stomach fixed. I taught one of my doctors, I thought about it, and I taught my doctor to do it on me, and it worked. My heartbeat was normal again. My blood pressure dropped. My arrhythmia stopped. Because I had tests done, and they said, oh, you have a heart arrhythmia, but you're young, you're probably going to outgrow it. Well, I wasn't going to outgrow it, obviously, until I fixed my stomach. So if you have acid reflux and heartburn and burping and gas, it's probably it may be a physical problem, and you're trying to treat it chemically. And by fixing the physical, we fix the nerve supply, which now allows the heart to beat more regularly. But now, if you have that condition and you're exposing yourself to electromagnetic frequencies, you're giving yourself a double whammy. So a lot of people who suffer these conditions, we talked about the Alzheimer's, the anxiety, the depression, the atrial fib, are taking medications. I'm not against that. That's fine. However, if you have any kind of heart or brain-related condition, I want you to really consider taking electromagnetic frequency exposure very seriously and take the steps to reduce the amount of exposure that you have. There's simply no question to it. EMF exposure can lead to some of these problems or certainly aggravate some of these problems. The drug is not treating the cause, it's treating the symptom. And I'll say it again. I'm not against you treating the symptoms. I'm against you treating the symptoms when you can fix the cause. That's a much better approach to health as far as I'm concerned. So, electromagnetic frequencies in cancer. That's a big issue too. Increasing the risk of men infertility. If you wear your cell phone near your groin, or if you use your wireless laptop on your lap. Men, raise your hands. How many of you are guilty of one or both of those? Yeah, a lot of you are. So you carry the cell phone in your front pocket. You're exposing the testicles to electromagnetic frequency. You have your laptop. You're sitting on your laptop. You're getting Wi-Fi. All that electromagnetic frequency is getting into the testicles. It can also increase your risk of breast cancer for women because if you tuck your cell phone in your bra. Studies link to low-level electromagnetic frequency exposure from cell phones to about 8% reduction in sperm motility and 9% reduction in sperm viability. So here we are affecting the sperm count and the sperm function. And I've been in practice 32 years. Years ago, we had every now and then we'd have somebody come in that couldn't get pregnant, men and women. Now we see it more and more. Is there a correlation between electromagnetic frequencies and pregnancy viability? Maybe. Once again, let's assume I'm wrong. So what? I'm wrong. But if I'm right, which I probably am in this case, why not do it? There's no harm and no foul if you do what I'm recommending here. If you shut off your Wi-Fi at night, if you don't carry your cell phone next to your genitals or your breasts, if you just put it far away from you. What harm is there in doing that? None. And then you have to make sure your body is healthy. Make sure you're getting the proper nutrition, the antioxidants to fight the free radicals that are being produced by, indirectly, this electromagnetic frequency. So I take Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source at least once a day. And it's one of the many reasons that I take it. If you've heard me do different shows, I seem to bring this topic up a lot because it does this, it does that, it has this and it has that in it. In this case, we're talking about antioxidants. So it covers a full spectrum of healthcare issues that are related to nutritional problems, and you most likely don't have the perfect diet. And I have a really good diet, and I still take Super Greens and Essential Source every day. It's 2 powders. They taste great. I mix them with coconut milk, almond milk. You could do water if you wanted to. I ran out of coconut milk the other day, and I used tea. I just cooked some tea and then cooled it because I don't want to put heat around this because it'll destroy the enzymes in the Super Greens and the Essential Source. And I just used some cold tea and mixed it up. It was great. Tasted fine. But I recommend at least once a day. Now, if I have a big day, if I'm going on a date, if I'm going hiking, if I'm going to do a bunch of radio shows or lectures, a lot of companies hire me to come in as a speaker to do wellness programs for their companies. You can do it too if you wanted to. Just contact me. If I'm traveling, I'll take a double dose. If I didn't get enough sleep, I went to a concert a while ago, 10,000 Maniacs. I know most of you have never heard of them. One of my favorite bands in the world. Front row center. I sat right below Mary Ramsey, the lead singer. Oh, I was so excited. And didn't get home till midnight that night. And I had to see patients the next day. So I took a double dose of Super Greens and Essential Source. So it's important that you give the body the minimum amount of nutrients. If you want information on that, go to my website, drjoeesposito.com. And it's under store, I think it is. And also, if you have an Amazon account, you can look me up there and order through Amazon as well. But do it for a month at least. It's relatively inexpensive. Do it for a month every day. Do it religiously. Notice what happens. If you like it, which I'm going to guess you will, I want you to take it as part of your daily routine forever. It's really good stuff. But again, back to electromagnetic frequencies and free radicals, you need the antioxidants, and that's a great source of antioxidants. And if you have your cell phone and your laptop, a lot of people travel, you gotta take care. It's causing problems. You have to do things to stop the damage. It just is what it is. It's life in a big city. So, first step to lower your exposure, identify your sources. Your cell phone is a major source. Cordless phones in your house. Never thought about that one, did you? Those two, they have to get those electromagnetic frequencies through the air. I recommend you don't do that. Wi-Fi routers, Bluetooth headsets, anything wireless, wireless mice. Mouse? Is it mice or mouses? I don't know if you have more than one. Keyboards, smart thermostats, baby monitors, smart meters, microwaves in your kitchen. Think about that. That's what? 1, 2, 3, 8, 9 different ways to get these electromagnetic frequencies and radiation into your body in your house. Ideally, you want to address each source and determine how to limit their use. So, for example, let me give you some ideas you can do. Swap out your wireless baby monitor with a wired one. Is that inconvenient? Yeah, it is. Is it safer for you and your baby, by the way, who has much smaller skull and more sensitive cells than you do? Good idea. Carry your cell phone in a bag instead of on your body. Put it in airplane mode if you can. For whatever reason, if you're playing games, watching movies, put it in airplane mode. Turn off your Wi-Fi at night, or don't use your Wi-Fi at all if you can avoid that. Use your laptop on your table rather than your lap. Use your cell phone with a headset or a speakerphone. Keep it as far away from your body as possible. Hardwire your devices instead of using Wi-Fi. This is probably going to significantly improve your sleep quality because electromagnetic frequencies disturb sleep. Now, folks, if you want to make an appointment to come see us, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. We would love the opportunity to be your doctors. My doctors, I handpicked them, I trained them. Every one of them I trust with me, I trust with my family, and I trust them with you. So if you have a problem, neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, headaches, numbness, tingling, if you want to get well, patients come in all the time and say, Doc, I just want to get well. And we evaluate their spine, and sometimes we find they do have pinched nerves because 90% of the time, pinched nerves don't hurt. So we do an evaluation. We check the patient, and we check the nerves that feel pain and nerves that don't feel pain. We check their digestive system, and then we'll put together a protocol for you along with a nutritional protocol because we want to make sure you're eating the right foods to get well, too. So if you want to make an appointment, we accept people with all insurances, no insurances, car accidents, sports injuries. I've never seen a car accident where the car was damaged, where the occupants, not just you, all of them, were not damaged. People are always damaged in car accidents. Go to my website, drjoeesposito.com, and we'll set you up a time. You can call us if you have questions, but we want to get you well and keep you well. Again, offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. So I want to continue talking about the electromagnetic frequencies, but now I want to talk about the nutritional intervention, the things that you can do nutritionally to get yourself well, because these are things you can do all day, every day. Nutrition intervention is going to be helpful to reduce the effects of the EMFs, because, again, we're going to get EMF, electromagnetic frequency. We're going to be exposed to them constantly. It's not a permanent solution, but if you do all the things we just recommended and you start working on your nutrition, you're going to have a much better chance of not having problem. First is magnesium. Magnesium is a natural calcium channel blocker. So what that does is magnesium can block up where the calcium is being dumped into the cell, that little gateway we talked about, and prevent so much calcium from getting in. Most people are deficient in magnesium to start, and I believe it's going to benefit you to take about 1 gram or 2 of magnesium a day. Now, you can get magnesium from a good diet, fruits and vegetables, nuts, seeds will have it, or you can take a magnesium supplement, which is fine too. Just be careful not to take too much magnesium, because too much magnesium can give you diarrhea. That's why they use it in milk of magnesia. Oh, that's what that magnesia means. It's magnesium. And so too much of it can cause diarrhea, and we don't want that. So eating a good diet should help. Now, this is interesting, too. You want to increase something called the NRF2. NRF2 upregulates, which means it helps produce superoxide dismutase. Now, superoxide is one of the things that's produced when you have too much calcium dumping into your cell. Superoxide dismutase, anything with the word ASE in it, is an enzyme. It breaks down whatever it is. Protease breaks down protein. Amylase breaks down carbohydrates. Superoxide dismutase helps break down superoxide. And that can lower your infection, improves mitochondrial function. Remember, the mitochondria produce energy in your body. It stimulates the mitochondria to produce new mitochondria. It detoxifies your body from foreign hormones called xenoestrogens or xenobiotics. It activates the transcription of over 500 genes in the body. And remember, the DNA is made up of genes. And so how do you activate the NRF2? Well, you consume foods that will boost the production of NRF2. Things like, it's going to sound like everything I've ever taught you, folks. This is Dr. Joe was right. Sulforaphane. What the heck is sulforaphane? You get it from cruciferous vegetables. What are cruciferous vegetables? When the flower forms on the plant, it's in the shape of a crucifix. That's why it's called cruciferous. Useless information. Broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, mustard greens. Getting enough omega-3 fatty acids will help reduce inflammation and help produce more of this NRF2. 3 types of omega-3 fatty acids you might want to consider. One is fish. I'm not a big fan. Might have mercury toxicity. It also affects the environment because we're overfishing our oceans, and that's not good. Krill, which is a better choice, it's in what's called a phospholipid form already, which is easier to absorb. Fish oil has to be converted into the phospholipid form. This is the phospholipid form. A little more expensive. Or algae, which is the most expensive, but that's the one I take because I don't do animal products. So algae oil is the purest form of omega-3 fatty acids there are. I take 1 gram a day, and I think you should too. So whatever choice you do. If you do fish oil, make sure it's certified mercury-free. And this is going to help boost what's called the NRF2 in the body, which is going to help the inflammation and help fight off this damage from the electromagnetic frequencies. Sulfur compounds, things that are found in things like garlic and onions. Sulfur compounds also found in things like isothiocyanates from cabbage. So eating a lot of fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, once again, goes back to what we're talking about. High-intensity exercise is going to increase your nitric oxide production, help the body work better. And also something called calorie restriction, eating less food. And the problem is that most of us eat way too much food. I do. And when you do, one of the side effects is weight gain, but also your body only needs a certain amount. And your body can only process like protein. People say, well, you're a vegetarian. Where do you get your protein from? Biggest number one question I get. Your body only needs about 8 to 10% of its total caloric intake as protein. Everything else is wasted. And if you're eating a steak, which is about 17% protein, that extra protein has to be broken down. And it gets broken down in places like your liver and your kidneys. And that puts a strain on your liver and your kidneys. And when other jobs come along for your liver and kidneys to do, it's busy breaking down all this excess protein. I haven't had an animal product in over 30 years. I'm fine. My brain works fine. My body works fine. Because I don't give myself excess. I want excess health, but I don't want to have excess toxins and chemicals in my body that my body has to break down. Using the cell phones, again, might increase your risk of brain cancer. Pretty important. We talked about arrhythmias. We talked about autism, anxiety. You really want to be careful with that. So you want to get the body working the best it possibly can. And something else I want to talk about, too, before we wrap up here, are these wristbands. I think I mentioned it earlier. The wristbands that people use to work out with. It monitors their pulse and how far they're walking. These things, when they wrap around your wrist, many times short-circuit the nervous system in our patients. And we do this. We put the wristband on. We push on their muscles go weak. We take the wristband off, push on their muscles stay strong. So we've had people already that weren't responding as well as they wanted to the chiropractic care we were giving them, and they were doing good nutrition. We got this electric band off their body, and they started to respond properly. So it's something you might want to consider. It might be a player in where your problems are coming from. Now, what's more dangerous, cell phones or x-rays? I want to get this in real fast. You'd say x-rays, of course. The reality is that there's compelling evidence showing cell phones are more dangerous than x-rays. Some of this evidence comes out of Germany. They did a study which effects of ionizing radiation equivalent to 1,600 chest x-rays were compared to 24 hours on a cell phone. Surprisingly, they found both produced roughly equivalent amounts of DNA damage. So, of course, nobody's on their cell phone 24 hours a day talking, but when they did the experiment, equivalent of 1,600 chest x-rays versus 24 hours on the cell phone, about the same damage. It's not good, folks. So really what you want to do is consider everything when it comes to healthcare. You want to get a normally functioning nervous system, normally functioning digestive system, good nutrition. At least for supplements, take Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. Those are on my website, drjoeesposito.com, also on Amazon if you have an Amazon account. And you can look it up, look at it, see if it's something you're interested in. If it is, you can order it. And I think at least take those steps and everything we talked about lowering your electromagnetic frequencies. If you want to make an appointment to come see us, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. We would love to have you come see us. So go to my website, drjoeesposito.com. You can book it right online. You can call us to make appointments. Offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. If you have pain, that's a warning sign. It's telling you something's wrong. Come see us. It may not go away in a day or 2 visits or 3 visits. It may take some time, but work with us. If you're happy with the care, tell us. If you have issues, let us know so we can work around it. because so many people don't know how to express, hey, doc, I need more help. Folks, the website is there 24 hours a day for you. Order supplements, make appointments, send me questions if you have to. drjoeesposito.com or just Google Dr. Joe. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time.